So in volleyball, these are the just a sec, regulations of volleyball. So like the basic requirements is like the size of the play field. So size of the court should be 18 meters by 9 meters. The width of the boundary line should be 5 centimeters. The size of the net should be 9.5 by 1 meter. The size of the mesh in the net should be 10 by 10, not meters, sorry, centimeters. It should be 10 by 10 centimeters. The height of the net from ground for men should be 2 meters and 43 centimeters, and for women it should be 2 meters and 24 centimeters. The circumference of the ball should be from 65 to 67 centimeters. The weight of the ball should be 260 to 280 grams. The number of players in each team is 6, and the number of substitute players are 6. The distance from the poles to the sidelines should be somewhere from 50 to 100 centimeters. The size of the marks on the chest and back, so like the numbers, should be 15 by 10 centimeters minimum. So it can be more than that, but it has to be at least 15 by 10 centimeters. There are seven. There are mostly seven officials. So there are two referees. There's one scorer, and there can be 2 to 4 linesmen. So and the length of the pole it has to be 1.8 meters. The color of the ball can be multicolored, and the length of service areas is 9 meters. So this is the court. So this is like the layout of the court. It has all the zones and the measurements and all that. So you can just have a look. And this is the net. So the poles and the net and their measurements. Yeah, Rudra.
Yeah. The teams. So the team consists of 12 players and one coach, one assistant coach, one trainer, and one a medical player. So a player who is the location of the team. So the players, they either have to sit on the bench or be in their warm up areas. So when the game is about to start, the players and during the play, I have to be either in the warm up area or at the bench. So yeah, so that's the location of players not in play. And during breaks, the players can be in the free zone or the team bench.
Jigmet, are you
Yeah, so
there?
equipment consists of jersey, shorts, socks, and shoes. So the color and the design of the uniform for the whole team, except the libero, and the shoes supposed to be light, playable, and not marking. So the numbers will be from 1 to 18, and the team captain has to have a stripe of 18 by 12 centimeter underlining of the number on his chest. It should be so the front number should be a minimum of 15 centimeter height, and on the back it should be 20 centimeter, and the stripes forming the number. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the captain has a few duties. Before the match starts, he has to sign the score sheet and do the toss for the team. During the match, he can speak to the referees when the ball is out of play. He can also demand explanations for certain rules and submit the teammates' requests. And if there is a disagreement with the explanation, he is authorized to protest. And he can also ask authorization to change any of the parts of equipment or verify positions or check the equipment. And after the match is over, his duties are to thank the referees and sign the score sheet again and confirm any protest against the rules if they occur.
So in the match, the coach, he conducts the play of the team. So what he tells the team what sort of what formations they should have and what they should do in the game. He selects the starting lineup. So like the the six people on the team, and who is going to substitute with whom, and he requests for timeout. Before the match, he has to record and check the names and numbers of all his players, and he has to sign the score sheet. And during the match, before each set starts, he has to give the second referee or the scorer the lineup sheet for the set. So whatever lineup is going to be there for the next set is he has to write it down on the sheet and give it to the second referee, and he has to request for timeouts and substitutions, whatever he wants to do in the game.
Yeah, so a team gets a point when they successfully, make the ball touch the ground in the opponent's court. When the opponent commits a fault or a penalty, so a fault is like when a team, is making a playing action which is not, you know, combining to the rules, so which is against the rules. So if two or more fouls are committed, then the first one is counted, and if two or more fouls are committed by the same team, then a double foul is called, and the rally is started again. You start the play again.
Hikmet,
How
Um,
they're doing
a
it?
rally, a complete rally. So a rally is a sequence of playing actions. So something like the ball keeps on going between opponent teams, and there's not a successive break between it. So yeah, and a complete rally is when the sequence of playing action is over and a point is rewarded. So when a rally occurs and a team gets a point. So the serving team gets the point. They continue to serve, and if the receiving team gets the point, they have to serve next. So a winning set and a match. So a winning set is a set that is won by a team which scores 25 points with a minimum lead of 2 points. Yeah, except the the last set. Yeah, and if 24 points are received by both teams, which results in a tie, the game is played till 2 points lead is achieved by any of the teams. So a match is won by a team which wins 3 sets out of the 5, and if it's a 2-5, the fifth set is played with 15 points with a minimum 2-point lead.
The toss up to decide upon the first serve and side of the court. Um, so if deciding set is to be played, uh, toss will be carried out in presence of both the captains uh, to pick sides or serve, and then rotation. Rotation order it is decided by the starting lineups, and position changed with change of serve. So when whichever team gains the serve, players rotate one position in clockwise. So rotational fouls is commit when a serve is made not according to the order, um, and team sa- sanctions with a point and serve to the opponent, and the rotation order is rectified.
Okay. Hikmet, are you doing this?
Status of the ball, do I do it?
Play. Uh, from when the service is struck. So when the guy's hand hits the ball is in play, and the ball is out of play immediately when a fault is spotted or the whistle is blown for the fault by the referee. So the ball is inside when it touches the floor of the playing area, including boundary lines, any part of the floor or boundary line, and is out when it's out completely outside the playing court or outside the play or yeah, okay. Yeah, fine, nice.
When the ball is crossing the net, the ball has to pass within the crossing space, which is above the top of the net and from between the antennas. So that much part is the crossing space. So the ball while crossing the net has to go through that. Or rule 10.1, 10.1.2. So it's like, is this special case in which if the ball is so if the ball is hit outside, like is going completely outside the court, and the team which has hit it outside has the right to go outside the court and pass it back in if they still have a pass left in the three passes that they have. If they have a pass left, they can hit it back to their team, in which case it has to go through the crossing space. It can't go from outside. So if it's going completely outside on the opponent's court, they can run there and pass it back to their team, and then and their team can hit it again to their opponents. That's rule 10.1.2. And the opposing team may not prevent such an action. So if someone is going to do this, if a person is running towards the ball to pass it back, the opponent team may not stop them from doing that. Then yeah, so ball is in play till it has completely crossed the net. So if a ball is going towards the bottom, if it's going to cross into the opponent's half from under the net, it is in play as soon as it hasn't till the point it hasn't completely crossed the net. So if someone hits it up before it crosses completely, it's still counted. And then ball touching the net, so the ball may touch the net while crossing it. The ball in the net. So if the ball is driven into the net and it comes back, it may be recovered within the team's three touches. So if it goes into the net, the team can still continue playing the ball. and if the ball tears the net or goes through the net, the rally is cancelled and then they replay it.
Net. So a player who's trying to block the ball can reach beyond the net as uh, as provided she does not touch the opponent's play. So he can also yeah, after the attack may go beyond the net provided the contact may not happen to the opponent. So so penetration under the net. So it is permitted to penetrate from under the net only if you don't touch the opponent's base, just like the point before. So the penetration beyond the center line. So so you can touch the opponent's court within a foot, provided that you don't your foot doesn't touch any of the opponents, and if you any other parts are allowed to any other parts are allowed to go beyond the center line if you again don't touch the opponent. You can you may if you don't touch the opponent, and you can penetrate field zones without uh, they don't interfere with the play, or they don't touch the opponent. So contact with the net. So contact with the net is not a fault unless it again interferes with the play or the opponent. Um, so players that touch the post or any other equipment is allowed until you penetrate with the play or the opponent. So when the ball is driven and it is not a fault. So a player touches the ball or his opponent in the opponent's face. So he touches the ball and the opponent, then it's a fault. So a player interferes with the opponent's play while penetrating into the space. So you go to the other court, like within a foot or anything. You go into the free zone and you touch any opponent. So that is also a fault. So and yeah, the player's foot is completely in the opponent's court.
Hmm. So, a substitution is an act by which a player, after being recorded by the score, occupy another player's position. So limitations: only six substitutions per team per set, and only one player can be substituted at a time. So a player may sub back but only once per set to the previous position. Substitution substitute player can only be substituted back by the players he or she subbed. All of this is there except for but it's an exception for the libero. The exceptions: so if a player cannot continue due to illness or injury, an exceptional substitute can be made. So in the injured player cannot sub back, uh, and this is not applicable to the libero. Substitution. So it's illegal if the limitation of the there exceed over 6, and if illegal substitution is made, the team is penalized with 1 point and served to the opponent. The team is the player substitution is rectified, and points scored by the team since its fault are all cancelled.
Yeah, the interval is the time between sets, and it always lasts 3 minutes, all of them. And during this time, the lineup change, side changes, and lineup changes also happen on the score sheet. And the period between the second and third set can be up to 10 minutes long. So after each set, the teams changed sides. So in the fifth set, uh, after the leading team reaches 8 points. The teams change sides again, and if not changed, they will whenever the error is noticed.
So violations. Yeah, okay. So if you serve and the ball doesn't across the net, go from above the net, it's a violation. If you step over or across the line while you serving, it's a violation. Illegal passing of the ball. So if you palm it or throw it or hold the ball, it's a violation. Blocking, touching any part of the body to the net while you touch the ball is a violation. Blocking the ball while the opponent has yet to pass it the third time. So if the opponent team still has a third pass left and you touch the ball or you block the ball, it's a violation. And if you cross the center line, if you cross the center line, so if your whole leg or your whole arm, not whole arm, sorry. If your whole arm crosses the net, crosses the center line, it's another violation. It's like he's the specialized player, so he's the one person who isn't the same colored jersey as the others. So he's a specialized player. He has to be recorded on the score sheet before the match separately. The libero cannot be the team or the game captain, and he cannot be made the team captain if the captain is injured. So the equipment is that his uniform he has to contrast from the rest of the team, and he may have a different design on the jersey, but the numbering should be the same. And if the libero is wearing a jacket, the jersey should still be visible. Uh, so the libero can replace any player in the back row. He or she isn't allowed to complete a attack hit. They're not allowed to block or attempt to block or serve, and they may not hit the ball from higher than the top of the net. So if the ball is above the top of the net, they're not allowed to hit the ball if it's in that position. So it's substitution. The replacement of a libero is not like a regular substitution. They can only be subbed when the ball is out of play and before the whistle for service. And libero and the replacement for the player who's the replacement for libero can only substitute in a special zone which is called the libero replacement zone. The redesignation of a libero is when, if the libero is injured, the coach of the team can redesignate another player with the approval of the first referee, and the player it should be one of the players who's not already on court. So, and once the libero is substituted, the injured player cannot re-enter the game later on. The new libero has to stay the libero for the rest of the match, and the number the number of the player who's been redesignated as the libero has to be recorded.
Yeah. So duties of the first referee. Yeah. So he starts and stops the game with with his whistle, and he's stationed on the platform. So he has the power to rule on when the ball is in play, when the ball is dead, when a point is scored by any team, when a side out occurs, when a foul occurs, when other penalties occur, um, or an interpretation of any rules and request for timeouts. And duties of the second referee. So he's stationed on the court opposite to the first referee, and his power to rule on are so when the central line is crossed, when net violation occurs, time for any times out, and illegal rotations.
Yeah, so the duties of scorer. The scorer is on station on the same side of the second referee, same side of the court, and he operates and controls the official scoring device. And the line judges station themselves opposite to one another and outside the court, and they have to signal to the first referee when the ball either lands inbound or out of bounds, or a foot fault occurs by the server, or the ball goes over or touches the antenna, or touches any overhead object.
In a game, the regular ones are timeouts and substitutions. So each team is entitled to the maximum of 2 timeouts and 6 substitutions per set. Timeouts and substitutions can be requested by the coach or the game captain, and the request can be made only when the ball is out of play, and the timeouts cannot last for more than 30 seconds. So these are just the different kinds of service. So the first one is underhand service. So you hit the ball at the bottom. The second one is top spin serve. So you toss the ball up and you hit it with the wrist and you give a spin to the ball. Then there is a jump serve. So you toss the ball up with both your hand and then you hit it. The jump float is when you toss the ball up with one hand and then you jump to hit it and pass it to the other side. This is a floating service, so it's the same as jump float, but you don't jump. Hikmet?
Pass is like the top one is the underhand, and the bottom one is the overhead. So basically, with the underhand pass, you hit the ball with the I don't know what part, the wrist kind of thing, to pass it to your own teammates. And overhead pass is basically you use your fingers above your head to pass it to your teammates again. Yeah. Overhead set is basically you use this almost the same technique as the overhead pass, but you set the ball for your teammate to uh, smash it, I guess. Rather hit it to the other side of to the opponents. And bump set is using the same hand technique as the what's it called, the underhand pass, but you set the ball for your teammate to hit it to the other side.
So this the cross court shot, not the cross court shot. The back court shot is when you jump from before the midline. You can see that in the first one he jumps from before the midline, the center line, and then he smashes the ball. And cross court is basically when you hit the ball from one side of from one court to the opponent's court to the alternate side of their court. Then the dump shot is like a fake. So you jump up as if you are going to set it for another player, but then you just flick the wrist and put it into the opponent's court. And then there is block. So it's like you jump and you don't really move your hand much. You don't put any force on the ball, but you just use the speed of the ball which is coming from the opponent to divert the ball from your hand to the player's court, to the same team's court. Then off speed hit is like it's the same as going to smash, but then the the opponent team will be anticipating a spike or something, but then you just nudge it a little so it loops into their court and it's like another fake. And then there is a quick hit which is like a which is the spike. So you jump up and hit the ball very hard downwards into the opponent's court, so it hits it ground it falls it lands on their court before they have the chance to control it. So this slide is a sort of uh, it's like sort of a set. So one person pushes the ball backward, so so the so another player can come and take it. And sir, for this double quick hit, I didn't find any. I didn't get what.
Single or one-man block is when a player jumps and raises his hand to block the ball. Double or two-man ball is when two players jump and raise their hand at one level. And next, three-man ball is when three people raise all the hands raise at one time at one level, and which stops the
Yeah. So after this, there is a lot of terminology. There's the back row attack, which is when one of the players from the back row takes off from the behind and attacks the ball. There's the blocking error, which is when you if you touch the net while blocking a set. So just the terminology you can read from the book, and then there are these two are the national and international governing bodies, the Volleyball Federation of India and the World Grand